Epilogue. Ripples of Resonance. The wine glasses clinked faintly as servers moved through the gallery space, their polished trays balancing reds and whites with practiced precision. Guests lingered near minimalist displays featuring abstract art, graphs, and looping video screens, unconventional but oddly captivating. The event was billed as a celebration of collaborative innovation across industries. Part art exhibit, part retrospective, and part think tank gathering. A timeline stretched across the far wall, etched in clean, subtle lettering. SkyPath Innovations, revolutionizing sustainable aviation fuel. TopNote Entertainment, a tour that inspired a generation to act. Wordscape Books, literature as a bridge for cultural connection. At first glance, the displays were about the companies, about how they had seemingly transformed overnight into torchbearers for sustainability, creativity, and connection. But if you look closer, the patterns in the data, stories, and even art reveal something more. A thread weaving through systems that were once fragmented, misaligned, and struggling. The conversations that drifted through the room reflected the guests' curiosity. Tech leaders, artists, publishers, and industry executives exchanged observations. How did they pull this off? Someone mused near the Wordscape section. These three companies just clicked. Fuel, music, and literature, completely different industries. It wasn't accidental, replied a venture capitalist, peering at a looping video of a top-note artist performing live against footage of jets soaring overhead. Someone connected the dots. This doesn't happen by itself. Across the room, a university professor spoke with a journalist gesturing at one of the displays, showing a before and after snapshot of SkyPath's production efficiency. This isn't just strategy. It's something deeper. Realignment at a human level. Leaders don't wake up one day and suddenly fix everything. Something or someone had to rewire how they work together. A CEO from a rising startup nodded thoughtfully. I've heard whispers about this kind of work, a process that happens behind the scenes. Energetic alignment and cultural recalibration. Call it whatever you want, but it's powerful when it's done right. The journalist scribbled notes on her pad. So, who orchestrates it? Someone who doesn't need their name attached, the CEO replied. The work speaks for itself. In a quiet corner of the gallery, away from the center of attention, Hailey Levin stood with Samuel Grant and Earl Mahler. None of them had planned to be here, yet it felt appropriate that they were. It's strange, Samuel said softly, studying the looping timeline. We've never talked publicly about how this happened. Not the real story. Because we don't know the whole story, Earl replied wryly. We just know the results, and that's what matters. Hailey folded her arms thoughtful. I've stopped trying to explain it. People ask what changed at SkyPath, and all I can say is we learned to listen to each other, to the unseen dynamics driving the company. That's what real leadership is, I think. Being willing to hear what you don't want to hear. Samuel nodded, and being willing to change because of it. Nearby, a small group had gathered around one of the gallery's most significant pieces, a mixed media artwork. At first glance, it was chaotic, abstract lines and colors intersecting with fragments of words and symbols. But as you step back, it formed something clear. 3 interconnected circles, a bridge of light linking them. No signature marked the work. The plaque read simply, Alignment in Motion. Outside the gallery, the city carried on as it always did. Cars passed, lights blinked, conversations rose and fell in the streets, but something lingered in the back of their minds for those who had attended the event. It was a question without an answer. How had 3 seemingly disconnected companies found themselves at the center of a cultural movement? How had unstable systems become cohesive? Who if anyone, had seen the connections before they existed. There was no name, face, or brand to credit. The people who had felt the impact, Manny, Hailey, Earl, Samuel, and countless others, spoke of systems realigned, clarity restored, and leadership redefined. They didn't explain how. They simply carried the transformation forward. Miles away, far from the gallery and its soft murmurs of speculation, Dr. Kristine Anderson sat in her quiet home office. The room was still, save for the faint hum of their computer as it powered down. On her desk, a single notebook lay closed. Its final line had been written weeks ago. The work is theirs now. Kristine stood and moved to the window. Beyond the trees, the horizon stretched vast and open, unmarked and limitless. There would always be another company, another team, another group searching for answers they couldn't yet name. And when the time came, she would listen. Not to the noise, not to the metrics, but to the resonance, the invisible thread that once found could connect everything. And that would be enough.